Beautiful cinematography, solid star power, and great acting are not enough to fully prop up this film. And I hate to say that, but, well, first, let me clarify. I don't hate this movie. I hate to say what I said. I don't hate this movie, but it's not as solid as I feel like it should have been, given this long-ass saga that it's supposed to represent. From what I understand, it's supposed to be a 4-movie series. I don't know if we're going to get all of the movies. I know that Chapter 2 is coming out, I think, in August, so next month. So let me start off with the things that I did enjoy. And it's pretty much, well, what I listed already. The cinematography is beautiful. The landscape is gorgeous. The shots, just absolutely stunning. The star power, decent. We've got a lot of recognizable faces in here. Also, the dude from Stranger Things, oh gosh, Jamie something Bauer. I thought he was really good in here. He plays such a good villain. I mean, he was kind of a villain. Well, he was a villain, and he was villainy. And he did that. He was really, really good in that role. And everyone was great as far as the acting. Another thing that I did like was there was at least one particular storyline that I found very engaging, and that was the one that involved Kevin Costner's character, or specifically a character that he's connected to. So this film is comprised of, I think, maybe about 4 different storylines. Let me try to remember them. One is, well, okay, let me backtrack. Let me reel that in. This film is called Horizon, and it's about a plot of land in, oh gosh, I don't even remember what state it's in. Anyway, it's this plot of land around this river. This land happens to be occupied by, I think, Apaches, and they're not so thrilled about the fact that white eyes, they call them white eyes, are coming and settling on the land there. They don't want to share this land. And so there's conflicts between the Apaches and the people that are coming there to try to settle. I mean, it shows, this is established early on when it shows a group of, or a few, like, I don't know, I guess they're surveyors, or they're like plotting the land out and taking measurements, and the Apaches in the area don't take too kindly to that. So that sets the stage. But then it jumps to, well, now there's sort of a settlement-ish there, and this settlement comes under attack. So that's one storyline. That follows the character of Sienna Miller. I think that's the actress's name, Sienna Miller. I get her confused with another Sienna actress. But Sienna Miller comes into contact with the character of Sam Worthington. That's that storyline. And then there's another storyline that involves Kevin Costner, but he's also connected with other characters that have their storyline. He comes into contact with this young prostitute, and she is, I don't even know her connection to this other chick, but this other chick has killed somebody, and that person's family is after her. She has run from them with her son, and this prostitute woman, I don't know, like I said, how they're connected. I don't know if they're like sisters or whatever, but she's helping to watch over the child. And then this family of the person that the mother has slain has come around to try to find her and take the child and all that stuff. So that's the second storyline. That's the one, like I said, that was the most interesting, especially stuff that's happening as these people are tracking her down. I thought that was really well done. And Kevin Costner, he doesn't even show up until an hour into it. But that's his sort of thread. He takes up with the young prostitute lady, and then their story goes off in that direction. The third storyline is about, it's following the Apaches, and it's showing the conflict between the younger generation of Apaches and the older, and how the older doesn't feel like there should be so much of this conflict between them and the white eyes, and the younger generation is just more gung-ho to go and try to kill and all that stuff. I do appreciate that we saw things from their perspective as well. Kind of helped, balance out the story. I didn't feel like there was anything really heavy-handed or agenda-based or any sort of stuff like that woven into this. If it was so subtle, I couldn't pick up on it. The last storyline, I think this is the last one. I think there's 4. This is one of the problems with this film. There's too many characters and there's too many storylines. The 4th storyline follows a group of people on the Santa Fe Trail. I guess they're making their way to Horizon. I mean, Horizon is kind of the thread that ties all these things together, but very loosely. That 4th storyline is following the people on the wagon train trail and the different dynamics between the characters there. That wagon train is led by Luke Wilson, and we see various individuals in that group and their interactions with each other and the different conflicts that are arising as their journey goes on. While there's certainly elements of this saga that, like I said, I felt were gripping and did keep my full attention, the problem is the amount of the multiple storylines that are going on in here. They felt kind of fragmented. These narratives felt kind of fragmented, and there was a lack of clear cohesion between them. I think the connecting thread is Horizon, but the way everything's fitting together right now, it's just not. It doesn't form this seamless, nicely told, clear picture. There were so many characters that I started to forget. When we would see a character, I started to wonder, have we seen this person before? Because if so, I've already forgotten their face. And it's, some characters just feel like they just kind of show up and I'm like, okay, what's going on with him and what's his purpose? What's his connection? Sometimes it just felt like a bit too much. And then at the end, there is this series of, or like this compilation of fast-paced scenes that we're shown. At first, I thought it was kind of like an epilogue type of thing happening, sort of showing us, kind of tying up the storylines of these different characters. But then it started to feel, it was so fast-paced and it was so fragmented and jarring that I started to feel like maybe it was kind of, a sort of a preview of what we're supposed to be seeing in chapter 2, kind of like a next on Horizon chapter 2, that sort of thing. But it was so clunky, it didn't work very well. And I do feel like we needed a bit of a heads up. This is what you're going to see in the next chapter. And it didn't feel like this chapter came to a sort of satisfying or normal type of conclusion. Things just ended, and then it was done, and then we have all these other scenes, and it's like what? That's so. It was a mixed bag for me. I mean, I really wanted to enjoy this more than I did, and I don't know if the other chapters are going to kind of help smooth all of that out, and then it will have felt like it was worth it. But each movie, it's supposed to be its own. While the storyline's going to be woven throughout all of the movies, each movie should still have its own encapsulated story structure. And it didn't really feel like that's what we got. This movie was long, 3 hours. It felt like it was just kind of clunking its way to the end. And the audience seemed to really enjoy and appreciate different parts of this film. And there were some touching moments and some entertaining elements, a few slivers of humor that drew some chuckles from the crowd. The audience was engaged, but I did hear some people talking about it afterwards about all these different characters, and there's just so many characters, and we got 3 more stories to go, and I guess we'll find out more about all these different characters. I feel like that type of sentiment is not necessarily what you want as a director, and I'm getting the feeling that Kevin Costner's vision for this is just a little bit grander than he's actually able to bring to life for us. From what I understand, this is a story that he's been wanting to bring to the screen for many, many years. While I appreciate his efforts, I'm not feeling super optimistic about the remaining chapters if they're going to be similar to this in quality. Some of the elements that I did appreciate about this that I forgot to mention was that we're not necessarily handheld when it comes to laying out the story for us. A lot of it is a show don't tell sort of thing. You just are given this series of images and videos, and you can piece together what's happening based on that. And there's not, exposition going on, and this is happening because of this. You just figure it out. But there are moments where sometimes it feels like we do need a tad of exposition because of so many moving parts to this story, and without connecting thread or exposition, and I've used that word multiple times, without that, it kind of fragments it a bit too much, and that really held this film back for me. If you like Westerns, you might really appreciate this. The time frame of this story, I think it starts off in 1859. It does not indicate to us what the date is by the time the story is done. You do know that there's been a passage of time to some degree, but I honestly have no idea how much of a passage of time. I don't think it's been years. There are some events that happen that make you feel like it should have at least been many months, or if not a year at least, because of some relationship that builds between a couple of the characters that would make a bit more sense if it had been more time that passed, but it also doesn't appear that that much time has passed. Maybe a couple months? I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is the problem with the way the story was told. So hopefully the second chapter won't feel quite as disjointed as this one did, but I guess we'll find out when the time comes. I am not sure yet if I'm going to buy a ticket for it. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, much like the movie itself, I feel like this review has gone on a bit longer than it should have. If you guys feel differently about the film, or if you agree, whatever, I'm curious to know if I'm the only one who's getting this feeling about how it was all put together, and maybe I'm not quite expressing it as concisely as I could, but oh well. Okay, you guys, that's it for this one. Later.